Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we re-diving into a topic that is often in the headlines but rarely understood in its full depth, the complex and long-standing tensions between the United States and Venezuela. It's a story filled with economic pressure, political maneuvering, and profound human consequences. So what's really going on behind the scenes? Let's break it down. To understand the present, we need a quick look at the past. Venezuela sits on the largest proven oil reserves in the world. For decades, this oil wealth shaped its economy and its relationship with the U.S., a major oil consumer. This relationship was largely cooperative for much of the 20th century. However, things started to change dramatically in 1999 with the election of Hugo Chávez. Chávez launched what he called the Bolivarian Revolution, a socialist movement aimed at redistributing wealth and reducing foreign influence, particularly from the United States. He nationalized key industries, including parts of the oil sector, which had previously involved major U.S. companies. This move set the stage for a major ideological clash. From Washington's perspective, Chávez's government was undermining democratic institutions and threatening regional stability. From Caracas's perspective, the U.S. was an imperialist power trying to control its natural resources. This political friction soon escalated into an economic conflict. After Chávez's death in 2013, his successor, Nicolás Maduro, inherited a challenging situation. Global oil prices plummeted, and years of economic mismanagement and over-reliance on oil revenues started to catch up. The Venezuelan economy began to spiral. It was during this period that the United States began imposing a series of increasingly tough economic sanctions. The stated goal of these sanctions was to pressure the Maduro government to hold free and fair elections and restore democratic norms. The first major sanctions in 2017 targeted Venezuela's access to international financial markets. Then, in 2019, the U.S. imposed sanctions on Venezuela's state-owned oil company, PDVSA, effectively cutting off its main source of revenue. This is where the term hidden war or economic war comes into play. The Maduro government argues that these sanctions are the primary cause of the country's devastating economic crisis. They claim it as a form of modern warfare designed to cripple the nation and force regime change, preventing them from importing essential goods like food and medicine. On the other side, the U.S. and many international observers argue that the crisis is a result of the Venezuelan government's own corruption, failed socialist policies, and systematic dismantling of democratic institutions. They point to hyperinflation, food shortages, and the collapse of public services that began before the harshest sanctions were implemented. From this viewpoint, sanctions are a necessary tool to hold an authoritarian regime accountable for human rights abuses and its refusal to recognize the democratically elected National Assembly. So who is most affected by all this? The Venezuelan people. They are caught in the middle of this geopolitical struggle. The country has faced one of the worst humanitarian crises in modern history outside of a declared war. Millions have fled the country, creating a massive refugee crisis throughout Latin America. Inside Venezuela, access to basic necessities like food, clean water, and medical care is a daily struggle for many. Hyperinflation has made the local currency practically worthless, and power outages are a common occurrence. The debate over the impact of sanctions is intense. Critics of the sanctions argue they are a form of collective punishment, hurting ordinary citizens far more than government officials. They contend that by crippling the economy, the sanctions make it impossible for any recovery to take place and worsen the very humanitarian crisis they are supposedly meant to help resolve. Several reports, including one from a UN special rapporteur, have called for the lifting of these sanctions, citing their severe impact on human rights. Conversely, supporters of the sanctions maintain that they are a crucial, non-violent way to exert pressure. They argue that lifting them would only embolden the government and allow it to further entrench its power without guaranteeing any improvement for the population. The argument is that any revenue gained would likely not reach the people who need it most due to corruption. The situation is a classic geopolitical stalemate. The U.S. and its allies do not recognize Maduro's presidency, instead backing opposition figures. Meanwhile, Venezuela has strengthened its ties with other global powers that are often at odds with the U.S., like Russia and China, who provide economic and political support. So where do things stand now? There have been some recent shifts. The global energy crisis has led to quiet negotiations and a slight easing of some oil sanctions, allowing certain U.S. and European companies to resume limited operations in Venezuela. This is a pragmatic move, driven by global energy needs, but it also signals a potential, albeit fragile, pathway for dialogue. Negotiations between the Venezuelan government and the opposition have occurred on and off, with international mediation, but a lasting political solution remains elusive. The story of U.S.-Venezuela relations is a powerful example of how 21st century conflict is often fought not with armies, but with economic tools, information campaigns, and diplomatic pressure. It's a complex web with no easy answers, where political ideologies clash and the human cost is immense. It highlights the difficult questions of national sovereignty, international responsibility, and the real-world impact of foreign policy decisions on millions of ordinary people. It's a situation that continues to evolve, and understanding these different perspectives is key to grasping the full picture. It's not just a political battle. It's a human story that deserves our attention. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into complex global issues. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.